Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. Today our special guest is Dr. Shekhar Algundgi. We are going to discuss about homeopathy medicine with Dr. Shekhar. Not many people are well versed with the homeopathy science. How is it beneficial to cure disease of all kind? On internet they describe homeopathy as a pseudoscience. Being a practitioner of homeopathic science from the past 33 years, can you please share with our audience how it works, how people can get benefited by it?
So see, basically, not many of them were well aware about homeopathy in the past. And not many of them knew about what homeopathy is all about. But the idea is that today, if we see, a lot of people are shifting towards homeopathy, basically because of quite a few reasons. One is that there is hardly any scope of something called as, side effects. Second thing is the diseases that are there are basically cured right from the root level. Third, there is no relapse once you're cured. And fourth and most important is that it is very harmless type of pathy, where there is no pain and suffering as far as the line of treatment is concerned. Easily palatable, right up from a child to an adult. And having said that, all sorts of pathology. Now, I can show you so many people of my own colleagues who are treating gross pathology like liver cirrhosis, like kidney failures, like bronchial asthma, eczema, psoriasis, hypertension. And the main idea is it is not only the pathology that is important. The idea behind it is what has brought this pathology into them. We talk about the word stress so commonly. Tension is there, tension is, but no one has still today ever tried to think what is this tension? What is this stress? And the whole idea is the way we are perceiving the things that is happening in and around us, the way we feel about it, the way we react towards it, the way we are able to cope up with those situations. How long are we keeping those incidences in our mind? How much we are emotionally disturbed with those happenings that have happened in our lifetime. All this for a duration of time. When you see this piling up into us, we have gradually lost the freedom of enjoying life to the fullest. And when we take the cases of these patients, we go back to those incidences that have really bothered them, those incidences that they have really not come in terms with, and then explore that to see what exactly are they experiencing with those situations that they have faced. And the remedy that is prepared from the nature substance itself also has the similar experience what the individual is experiencing. And therefore, like cures like is the basic principle of homeopathy. So what happens is the remedy, the medicine will have the same sort of uh, uh, emotional factors, the same sort of the essence of it that is matching with that of the stress of that individual or the experience of that individual. And when those two things match, that is the experience of the individual and that of the remedy, when we prescribe that remedy over a period of time, you see how beautifully at the level of mind, at the level of body, at the level of soul, it really creates a huge difference. And they are back again to enjoy the idea of freedom of life. They are able to enjoy every moment of life. In other words, they come to terms with the situations that are in and around them and not get affected by those situations.
For which kind of diseases homeopathy works the best?
Exactly. So the idea is not type of disease. The idea is the type of or the way of how we understand an individual. And what we really do is the idea called as the case taking process. And when we are doing the case taking process, we go into every aspect of that individual's state of mind, state of being, state of situation that they have faced in life, what have they gone through emotionally, and what have they experienced deeper to that emotions in those situations of life. So we ask them about stressful situations. We ask them about the dreams that they get in the sleep. We ask them about the childhood incidences, anything that has affected them. We ask them about anything that is there in the family or in the job place, or anything that they have not at all liked, or they were disturbed or bothered. And when we collectively see all these things in the case, we understand that individual's deepest level of experience in his or her story. And therefore, pathology, if it is like simply saying what is true to a part is true to the whole. That means whatever is your experience in one of the areas, it becomes also the experience in other areas, because you are the common person on which all the other situations are surrounded with. Therefore, the pathology is developed because the way you are being stressed out. The pathology developed because of your tensions. And once we explore the tensions, once we explore the stress factors, then automatically the pathology, whatever it could be, the pathology is also taken care of, because that has brought in because of your stresses. That has brought in because of your stresses. And normally what others do is to treat the pathology. What we do is what has brought in that pathology, what has brought in that stress factor, what is that triggering factor that you are tensed about, what is the triggering factor that you're stressed about. Once we explore that, come to the understanding, give the remedy accordingly, you see everything, not only that stress, not only the tension, not only your sleep that is disturbed, not only that your bowel movement that are disturbed, everything improves gradually in a holistic way. Therefore, homeopathy is not only for a local region for pathology. Homeopathy is basically holistic science where your mental setup, your physical setup, and your spiritual setup, and all three, that is the mind, body, and soul, the trinity of life as a whole, is taken care of.
Does homeopathy have any cure for pathological diseases such as cancer, liver cirrhosis, or kidney failure, etc.?
Now are also practicing on cancer. Let me tell you this, there are a lot of my own colleagues who are practicing on, especially on cancer cases. And you see beautiful results, fantastic results that are coming up over there. Even with my own case, who had liver cirrhosis, who had been like, number of doctors he had gone through. And today, and this is, I'm talking about 20 years back when he had come to me. And recently, 3-4 months back, again, he had come to me just to say hi, hello. And he's still alive, hale and hearty and healthy. Whereas he was told to go in for a liver transplantation 20 years back. And he refused to go for that. He came in for homeopathy. It took me nearly around 1.5 years, or maybe 1 year, 8 months or so, to completely treat him with pathological reports, everything completely, jotted down. All the investigations are kept in proper order to show it as a proof that we can definitely treat deeper pathological cases with simply small little pills that really creates wonders in a human life.
I have got to know that last week your book have published case taking the art of connection, conversation, and communication. Sir, what's your thought behind writing this book?
See, the idea for writing this book is basically for getting the younger generation also to believe in the science that they have graduated in, that this science is one of the most wonderful science, and it really helps beyond your imagination. And so idea was how to take the case, how to actually understand the human being. And believe me, it is not only for homeopaths. The idea is for every individual as a human being. The idea about how can I communicate with the other person so that there is a proper flow of that communication. So the idea is that, am I able to connect to that person? Is my wavelength matching with that person? Am I on a right topic, what that person is trying to talk to me? So the idea of connectivity that is needed to be first established. If that connectivity is established, then there will be a proper communication happening. So one can understand the other person, and the other person can understand the previous person. So the communication that is happening, and if that communication is properly happening, both of them have is a converse means to share one's idea with others. As you are losing your track in that theme of communication and in the theme of conversation. So the questions, what is to be framed, when to ask, what to ask, where to ask, why to ask, all these are important factors that are mentioned in that book. And that book is one of the understanding that why do we have arguments between two people. We have arguments, or we have dissatisfaction, or we are not gelling with the other person because there is no connectivity between two people, because the theme, the subject of conversation is not the same. The interest that one has, the other person doesn't have, and so therefore there is always a friction. So why these frictions are caused? What can I do to minimize these frictions? And if the friction is minimized, my stress factor is minimized. If my stress factor is minimized, I will now start enjoying life by conversing with people, by communicating with people, by being unprejudiced without having any prior thoughts in my mind. Oh, this person could be like this. Oh, that person could be like this. Oh, that person must have told something about me only. All these are the basic cause for sickness. We try to assume, we try to think that that one is talking about me, or that one must have said something about me. And this is the seed from where the entire disease germinates. This is where your mind starts working in a completely negative direction, not at all something that is actual reality that is happening in and around you. You start thinking in a negative way. Everywhere there is negativity, and then your psychology changes, then your endocrinology changes, your neurological order changes, and thus the immunity also changes. What we call it as the PNEI axis. P for psychological, N for neurological, E for endocrinological, and I for immunological. So when that axis keeps on changing deeper and deeper, you see severe gross pathology starts developing. So this book has got the content about the idea of how the questioning should be done, where the questioning should be done, what is the need for these questions to be this thing, where to take a pause, where to have your own ideas as to what am I seeing in that person's talk, where am I to be persistent in my talking. So the P formulas are jotted down. The purpose of asking the question, the possibilities that will come from the question, the probability that will come from the question, the prospect that will be there, and the pause that you have to take, the persistence that has to be done, all the P's really gives an individual the skill and the art of how to converse in any given subject, may it be within the family, may it be between husband and wife, may it be between the father and the daughter, may it be with your siblings, anybody for that matter. This particular idea really helps the cause of art of conversation, which will make your life beautiful. So that was the thought of writing this book after 30 years of practice.
Who all can benefit from this book?
Anybody, maybe a homeopath, maybe a civilian, maybe even for those people who are old generations also, anybody can benefit, because simply because, as I said, it will give you how to talk, it will give you how to communicate with somebody, it will give you the essence of establishing newer relationships with different people, how to really go about with having so wide range of relationships, enjoy the beauty of every talent, every soul around you, because now you are able to follow what am I doing with my people around. It is not only about the family, it's not only about the job. And what we are seeing today, we are only interested in our family, we are only interested in our job, and that's it. But what about the world outside? Even a small child can also teach you so many good things. But for that, I need to develop the connection between that child. Even an old person, maybe in 80s, can teach you so many things. But do we really spend time with them, few minutes time with them, to connect to them, to listen to them, to understand them, and to have a conversation with them? Such a lot of things will be an input to every individual who will try to read that book and understand what have I really given in that book.
What is the connection between the art of connection, communication, and conversation and homeopathy science?
Homeopathy basically deals with the idea of case taking. If we have to treat a person, we need to take the case. And that case taking means understanding that person's lifespan. A 40-year-old person coming to you, it is not about only what he's suffering from. It is all about his 40 years, all that has really bothered him, all that has really stressed him, all that has really disturbed him. So to understand that, I need to have a good rapport with him. That rapport, which will make or unwind, it will unfold all the aspects of his 40 years lifespan, what all he or she has gone through, what has really been bothered, and they are not been able to actually tell it to anybody. Why? Because today's world, nobody has time for anybody. One Sunday comes and how it goes, we also do not know. And therefore, he or she keeps those things in their mind when they never went it out. And therefore, this keeping for a long duration of time causes all sorts of disturbance at a mental, physical, spiritual level. So therefore, this case taking is a very important aspect for a homeopath. And thus, the stalwarts say, a well taken case is half cure. What is that half cure? If I talk to you my problems, if I tell you what I'm feeling, if I tell you what I've gone through, how much my soul will be feeling lighter. So the venting out what happens at that moment of that 1 hour session that we do with the patient, when we talk to them and we ask them questions, when we go deeper, moment they really finish that entire case taking, they really feel, many of them actually tell me, today is the first time, doctor, you know what, I could able to tell you something which nobody had ever tried to hear me. That fills your heart, and you really feel that you have given due respect to that person's timing for that consultation to understand his or her suffering. Suffering is not pathology. No. Suffering is not that what they have come for. No. There is something beyond that suffering, what they have gone through. Mother-in-law, daughter-in-law story. How many people come with that story? They might be having hypertension, they might be having diabetes, they might be having eczema, they might be having psoriasis. But beyond that is they're having in their family, which they're facing something. When you really question them, when you really put your heart and soul in wanting to listen to them, what people want today, somebody to listen to their feelings, somebody who can just tell them it's okay to reveal, it's okay to cry, it's okay that you're feeling bad about it, but at least when you talk it out, you feel better. Therefore, this art of case taking is very important, which is the key factor for a good homeopath. And thus, this case taking book will really help us in understanding what are the prerequisites as a homeopath, what are the qualities needed for a homeopath, what is the thing that is actually needed for them in the idea of how should I make this person feel relieved by simply conversing with that person and getting through the entire case history and then prescribing the remedy. And that's where homeopaths' basic floor, the platform on which they stand is you see any good homeopath, their case taking is solid. And so therefore this book and the art of case butter of a good homeopath.
Since many years, common people are thinking that homeopathy is only for long lasting chronic disease, wherein one has tried every possible line of treatment but they haven't got cured. So, generally, we don't go to homeopaths for our seasonal issues such as cold, fever, cough, etc. Is it true, sir?
See, what happens, I'll tell you. Since if I am having cold and cough, And if I've not gone to a homeopath to check whether is that homeopathic medicines working on for cold and cough, does that homeopathic medicines work for fevers, does that homeopathic medicines work for acute rhinitis, any acute conditions, unless and until I have tested it on myself, how can I really believe? There are people who are good practitioners, good prescribers for acute conditions, especially people from the north, from Calcutta and all. You see, they are so accurate, they're so good in it, simply because they have a self-belief. And therefore, people should try to believe that, let me try and see. And then I will see the wonders that these small pills that actually does on me. Yesterday, I had fever. I took 2 pills in the morning, 2 pills in the afternoon, 2 pills in the evening, as per doctor's advice. Oh my God, I felt so better. No weakness, no side effects of the antibiotics, nothing of that sort. And I am fresh back to work. So, homeopathy, if you really practice in a right sense, homeopathy, if you really understand the principles of the science, and if you are religious enough, I use the word religious because if you are true to yourself, to what you are doing, it is one of the gem of a science that can do so good, maybe acute, maybe pathological, maybe chronic cases. In every conditions, it can really do good, provided you are knowing what you're doing.
Whenever we go to a homeopath for physical issues such as kidney stones, headache, etc., they ask about our nature, what we like, dislike, which weather suits us, which do not suits us. What is the connection of these details with our physical complaints, sir?
See, we all know very well, as the mind, as the body, as the body, as the mind. So when we know that this, like the mind, like the body, as the body, as the mind, so therefore, if you have some physical ailments, say for example, kidney stone, say for example, gallstone, if you have developed that, the type of pain that you are going to describe will be different for each individual. Some would be saying, oh, it's a pulling type of pain. Some would be saying, oh, it's a pricking type of pain. Some would be saying, oh, I don't have any pain at all, but there is some discomfort, doctor. Why so? Why will each individual try to give you this idea about the pain in a different way? Other things, someone will say, oh, will this really kidney stone get cured? I don't know what will happen to me. That will be the desperation that is the person is having. Other person will say, what to do? I have got kidney stone now. I don't know. I think I'll have to live with it. Third person will say, oh, doc, somehow remove that thing, Papa. I don't want to suffer. I don't want to have any kidney failure. I don't want to go for dialysis and all. Oh, do something about it. These are the different ways how the desperation can be shown. So the description of the complaints, each individual will give you in a different way at a physical level. Same way at a mental level also. How are they looking at their pathology? What is the way that they're looking? One will say, doc, I need to get rid of this kidney stone because if I have more problem and if I have to land up to the hospital, the bills that will be coming to pay will be difficult for me to pay because my children are still small. I have to see that their education is completed. This one stresses this. Other person will say, oh, doc, I'm very scared to go to the hospital. That knife they take and they cut and all, when I see blood, oh, no, 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 no. This is the other person's way of explaining. So each individual is unique in its own way. Therefore, the state of mind, along with the physical complaints, is needed to be understood because that compiles the whole person. You cannot keep the mind away and keep only see the body. That is not possible. If you have to understand a person, you have to understand it on a physical plane as well as on the mental plane, because that is the holistic way of approach. Therefore, all these questions have to be asked simply because we need to understand the man in the disease and not the disease in the man. That is a two different entity. Looking at a disease in a man and a man in a disease are two different things. So when you're seeing man in a disease is, I am suffering with kidney stone, how do I look at it? How desperate I am? How do I express the pain? How do I think about what will happen in future, about if the stones are going to disturb me or bother me, or it is going to increase? And that unique also. So our science is based on and not generalization. It is not that kidney stone is there, these are the remedies, pick up one of them and give it. No. Every individual is unique by its own way. And therefore, that uniqueness of that individualization is what homeopathy is all about. It is not about generalization of that pathology. So therefore, we cannot just say, oh, blood pressure patient has come, prescribe these things. Look at the blood pressure, how much is it? Look at the lipid profile, what all is the thing? How much is the cholesterol? How much is this thing? Triglycerides, give the remedy. No, we have to look into the person, all from his mind to body to way he looks at his complaints. What is his thought process behind it? That gives us the completeness idea of the entire individual. And that is the beauty of homeopathy.
Thank you so much for your valuable time and clarifications. Thank you, sir.